What is up, people? Welcome to The Scoop, Weddings Unveiled. This is our first podcast. I'm Tim Schalch, owner and premier DJ with TLS Entertainment, and we've got Brandy. Hello, Brandy.
Hello.
How are you?
We're good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
It's exciting.
Getting used to this whole setup of this podcast. It's interesting. We've got the video side of things, so I'm learning about it as we go. So if anybody is watching, because we're going to have this on YouTube and all of the podcast things,
all the portals,
all of the portals, it'll be out there, so you guys can listen live or listen to us. Weddings Unveiled. Just really excited to do this with you. We've been talking about this for quite some time.
Yeah, I think just to say, he said I'm Brandy. I'm a wedding planner. He's the DJ. We've hung out quite a bit. I would say in the past, 5 years it's been? 7 something years. It's been so much and so fast and so awesome that I forgot how much time we spent. But yeah, when I said I was retiring last year from wedding planning.
Very upset. Not happy.
Yeah.
We're going to get you back out there.
He was going to cause a riot. And I said, this is something I think I would love to do as a podcast and just share the knowledge with industry and those in the industry, those outside, getting in the industry, and all of our clients. So thanks for making it happen.
My sister from another mister.
That's right. Always.
That's right. So some of the topics that we'll be discussing in future podcasts, how to get involved in the wedding industry. And that's going to be a question that we're going to talk about today, really. Like, Brandy, how you got involved, how I got involved in the wedding industry, and then other topics of discussion, marriage advice for engaged couples. Yeah. So we'll bring on a marriage counselor. Very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Pre-marriage.
Yes. How to pick the perfect DJ, entertainment for your big day. Again, these are just example topics that we'll be coming up with, in future podcasts. What's an expected wedding budget, especially here in Sarasota, Manatee County, or the counties, I should say. So if you're listening from afar and you're wanting to get married here, do a destination wedding in Sarasota, here's some, we'll talk about some expected wedding budgets.
And unexpected things.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Because those happen.
And then for our wedding professionals, how to market your business to engaged couples. And then also for engaged couples, how to book your photography, videography, what type of styles are there, best practices and trying to find that perfect fit for you.
Yeah, definitely asking those tough questions and not being afraid to ask those tough questions of your vendors,
mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, you get one shot. Don't get to do it again.
Nope.
So.
It's a big day.
Yes.
Big day. So Brandy Harlan.
What's up?
What's tell us a little bit about you. What's what's your position? What are you doing now? Because you said you retired from weddings for now.
Yes. He keeps saying that for now.
It is for now.
I mean, I may have a few people that I would plan weddings for specifically. Certain people, brother from another mother. So I actually started my business in 2005. Yeah, long time ago. And I started my wedding planning business as a side gig. I was like, I'm working a temp job. I have a degree in business and fashion. No clue how to plan.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school a few different places. I'm originally from Ohio.
Okay.
So I did a few semesters at Kent State.
Okay.
Yeah, golden flashes. And
what the hell is a golden flash?
It's a bird. Just leave it alone. My high school mascot was a truck. I come from a long line of weird
Oh
mascots.
my God.
And, Ohio State Buckeyes. So moving forward with that, I went to International Academy of Design and Technology in Tampa and did my associates in fashion design and business marketing there. And then I had a secondary business marketing degree after that. So I knew a lot about business, and I knew that I liked to put people together. I like to gather people and things, but I never realized that it would pivot into an event planning or wedding planning business until I helped my stepsister plan her wedding. I was like, oh, that was fun.
Okay.
So I feel like a lot of people, even brides, are like, oh, I planned my wedding and now I want to be a planner. That's a big step because you get to make all those decisions, as the bride. When you're the planner, you have to help them make those tough decisions. And so I feel like you can graduate from bride to planner, but there's some tough questions that you have to ask yourself that you have to be comfortable answering and going into those hurdles. So fast forward, I started in 2005. I was working at a temp agency, and I decided I wanted to do something bigger and better, and I started Happily Ever After Weddings. And my logo was the pumpkin cart, the little carriage from Cinderella. I designed it all myself with what graphic skills I had.
Right on.
And I was one of very few planners on Anna Maria Island because that's where I lived.
Oh,
so
okay.
Besides myself and Bobby Hicks, rest in peace, she was an amazing, amazing wedding planner.
Yes.
I cut my teeth literally on dragging chairs out to the beach at 7 a.m. and finding a spot before everybody else did.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sure
that's
did.
not for me.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought, because I lived out there, I thought, okay, I'll just do it out on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
But that taught me a lot of questions to ask logistically. And so fast forwarding to today, I spent, so many years planning weddings, and I was at Mixon's for, like 7 years. I can tell you I've planned hundreds. I've planned everything from a 2-person wedding, cutting their cake on the hood of my car out on the beach to...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
On the hood of your car?
Yep.
Explain what...
I picked up the Publix cake. It was like a little... They just wanted to cut a cake. We had like
How was your car involved?
Because we didn't have any benches or anything.
I take it...
So
okay.
they said, we'll just cut it on top of your car. I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And this is... Yeah. So 2 people getting married, and my husband used to build the arch for me on the beach, and we would do our thing. And fast forwarded to 300 people weddings and events and rocking them out. I remember my very first wedding that I executed.
Okay, let's hear about that.
Because, and it's funny because I just saw the mom and dad of the bride not too long ago where I'm currently working, which is the Bishop Museum.
Okay.
So I've seen like the grandkids and they're like happily ever after, but my very first executed wedding was 300 people. It was Gator themed.
Like University of Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Boo.
I know. I knew that was coming.
But you're a Miami, University of Miami.
The U.
But you're from Ohio.
Husband, married
So you're...
to
Okay,
the
so...
world of being champions.
Well, they're not champions this year, I'll tell you that. 2022 is not their year.
None of my teams are this year. The Dodgers, it's all bad.
Yeah.
I know. Go Phillies for
That's
you.
right.
But it was 300 people. And I really went into my first meeting with them just trying to have as much confidence that I could pull off this wedding. And I'd never actually executed one. And so I think I charged maybe $500 or $600 to do a whole entire wedding by myself. 300 guests.
300 guests.
300
You
guests.
executed
Solo.
2
different locations. The ceremony was at Emerson Point in that big clearing that overlooks the river.
Where's Emerson Point?
Emerson Point is Palmetto.
Palmetto, okay.
Mm-hmm. So in Palmetto, Emerson Point by the Indian Mounds, 300 people, palm trees that were brought in that scaled from 20 feet down to like 5 feet. On the back of the aisle, all the chairs were brought in. I had golf carts dropping guests off because the drop-off location and the ceremony location were too far from each other, and a lot of their guests were older. We had an RV parked for the kids to hang out in. It was a whole, I was literally J-Lo with the headpiece and the hip clip and running around, and it was the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ceremony was great. we all go over to River Wilderness in Parrish for the reception, except the bridal party broke down in the RV on the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So that happened. And then all the guests are there. And then, and to rewind a little bit, they had, going back to the gator thing before I go too far, they had goldfish for their centerpieces with a blue ribbon around a vase, right?
Goldfish,
Goldfish,
like
live,
real goldfish.
living and breathing, until Dad closed the cooler the night before on them. Literally, he had to go find new fish the next day, and you can't tell where you're getting the fish that they're for decoration. They have to be feeder fish. And so we were like, we had like 3 in one vase, and we had to like spread them out. And then we gave a guy a little thing and said, if you see any that are floating, just kind of help them out. So yeah, RV broke down. Bridal party was an hour and a half late. Guests were not very happy with me because catering put the food out, and they were sitting there smelling it. And my one goal, my only job in my head was, I work for the bride and groom. If they're not here to eat, nobody's eating. So it ended up being great. There was so many snafus, and to this day they didn't even realize so many things had like
that's the idea, if for wedding professionals as a whole, for a wedding planner, for a DJ myself, which we work very closely with wedding planners, is to just make sure that the couples and the guests have no idea that there are any issues going on the back end.
Yeah. What are some that you've come across where you're just like, oh, I had to fill in or XYZ and nobody knew?
Gosh. Well, just recently, a few weeks ago, I was at the Palmetto Bed and Breakfast.
I love that place.
Beautiful venue. Yes, really gorgeous. Cool.
Great team over there.
Yeah. But it just started storming. Like, it was insane. So
I saw your video. I did.
Oh, of the rain. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just started pouring. And honestly, like, we were looking at the forecast beforehand, and luckily the team at Palmetto Bed and Breakfast, they actually saw that it was supposed to rain during the ceremonies and pretty much afterwards. And so they made the decision, you know what, we're going to bring all the tables underneath their little patio.
Back patio, yeah.
Patio, and they also have like an indoor area as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at the radar, and I'm thinking, it should be okay.
It's Florida.
It actually looks like it's clearing up.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're just gonna keep it the way it is. I'm like, you guys, by all means, you guys are the the experts in that side of things. But it's a little crammed. But we'll do what we got to do. And ceremony went off without a hitch. No rain. Great. They did their photos during cocktail hour. And then as we're getting ready to, it starts to sprinkle a little bit during cocktail hour towards the end. And as we're getting ready for introductions, it just starts pouring out of nowhere and like thundering and lightning. And it was insane. And I'm like, oh my God. So the introductions, like, they were supposed to go, like, that venue is like kind of like undercover a little bit, but then like the main part of it is outdoor.
Yes. Their outdoor patio.
And the bridal party, like the head table and where all the bridal party was sitting for dinner, was on the other side, like the other side of that.
Oh, because there's that other overhang over there where the bar goes.
Separate.
Yeah, it's separated.
It's separated.
It's a big gap.
Yeah, big gap. And so it just started pouring. So, I was making some announcements. Luckily, I had an assistant there with me that was moving my equipment because it started like raining sideways. And so that's never good.
That's also Florida.
Yeah.
It just turns.
Yeah. And so I'm like, where did this come from? Like, I literally was inside getting everybody lined up. And then I come out and I just see all the guests like up against the wall trying not to get wet.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it was crazy. And so I went up to the bride and I was like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to go ahead? It's pouring. It looks like it's starting to lighten up a little bit, but it's raining. And she said, you know what? Let's just do it. Screw it. And there was like 10 of them.
I love it.
So I introduced the guys first. Luckily, I think it was actually, a trend that we're seeing is like for for introductions, they're introducing all of the groomsmen at one time.
Oh, so they get their own like cool song together?
Yeah, just the
like all
groomsmen
guys.
they come out at one time,
Yeah.
their song, then the bridesmaids will come out to their song,
Nice.
and then the bride and groom. So in this case, that's what we did, but we did it to one song. I forget the original song that they had chosen, but I went up to her, I was like, "Hey, it's literally thundering and lightning outside."
Thunderstruck.
Exactly. So I went up to the bride and I was like, "Hey," and that was actually one of her requests anyway, because you know the Thunderstruck in college, you know what happens when Thunderstruck comes on?
Yes.
They have that drinking game.
Yes.
Well, that was on their request. I was like, "Hey, this is a great opportunity to play that as an intro."
Yeah. Why not live and enjoy the moment? It is what it is. You can't change it.
Right.
So.
And I love like not trolling guests, but like when it's raining out, Eddie Rabbit has a song called "I Love a Rainy Night."
Oh.
Immediately put that on while we're getting everybody ready.
Yeah.
"Umbrella" by Rihanna.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So it's just adapting to your surroundings.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important when you are either the client or the professional. You have to understand that something's gonna not go right. Just know that you have a great team and you've chosen a great team that can adapt.
Yes,
and
hopefully.
That's hopefully what we also teach you on this podcast is to choose the right team. How to choose the right team.
Yeah, but I mean that. Oh, that was kind of stressful, but we went with it, and obviously we have timelines that we go by, but we more or less use them as a guideline. So if we're off time, whatever, we'll make up that time somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that's why we're there. That's why you have a wedding planner. That's why you have a DJ who works well with with another wedding planner, and you have a solid team that's basically running the show for you.
Absolutely.
And all you have to do is just sit back and watch it unfold.
And laugh about it later and enjoy.
Yeah, but
I mean, it rained on my wedding day. All my guests sat right through it. I was like, "Go get under the cover."
Well, it was really cool. They actually, so I introduced the guys first. They came out. They had umbrellas, luckily. So they they went out downstairs because there's like a small downstairs at the Palmetto Bread and Breakfast. And then when I introduced the girls, they opened up the umbrellas and then escorted them under the umbrellas over to the other side of where their seats were, because they were kind of like segregated.
Yeah, because there's that big open gap. It's like
which is where the dancing usually happens.
Yeah, the dancing happens in there, and then dinner, and you've got the little bit of the overhang on the other side.
Which is where the bar is. So
yeah, where everybody needs.
So if you want to drink, like you're gonna get wet.
Get wet.
And of course, literally right after that, like then the father of the bride gave a welcome speech. And once that was, and then I believe there were a couple other speeches. We just decided just to do them because we really couldn't do anything else at that point.
Yeah.
And again, that's just adjusting to the times. Like the speeches weren't really supposed to be until like later on, but we had nothing else to do at that point.
Except stare at each other.
Right. So I had everybody sitting, went through the welcome speech, did the blessing, did the other speeches, and then it stopped raining.
I feel like that's always the case. Like just after you do like the more somewhat most important parts and you pivot and then it's like, oh, it stopped raining. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's good. We'll move on.
Yeah. So it's all about adjusting. And I mean, hopefully, the day goes as planned, but we just adjust as we go.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many stories, and I'm sure we're going to be able to touch on a lot of those. Being the planner, sometimes the DJ ends up being the planner, so I'm sure. But I remember I had to fill in for an officiant that didn't show, like a 10-page ceremony.
It was written out already.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
In a binder, and
at least they were prepared
Mom
for that.
The bride sat on the front row reading it along with me, turning pages as I went through it. And I'm not ordained or anything, but I did it. And then the officiant showed up at the last prayer.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's eyes were closed, and he kind of scoots in, and he's got like it was on St. Patty's Day, and it was all leprechaun kind of vibe. Oh. So he had on this big long thing and a big old to-do. Everybody looked up. He was standing there, and I was off to the side. Nobody knew until like halfway through reception that I was not supposed to read all that and do that.
Well, again,
heels in my car, and you just roll with it.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Exactly.
Like to them, you were supposed to do everything that you did.
Yeah, we had fun. Cold reading, not a problem.
So now that you now that you have retired momentarily from wedding planning, I'm going to get you back out there.
I know.
I miss you significantly.
Aw,
Like I really do.
I
And
miss y'all.
yeah, Mixins, whether they know it or not, they miss you.
Aw,
I'm telling
the
you that
world.
they do. It's just not the same without you there. And actually, like DJ or like just doing a wedding with you has just always been a blast.
Yeah.
So now that you have somewhat retired, what are you doing now? Where are you? What's your deal?
So I took on a really big girl job. Not that wedding planning wasn't a big girl job, but it was a passion, and it was love language, and it was a season. So now I am the director of business development at the Bishop Museum, which basically means I do fundraising.
Fun. Is it fun?
It is fun.
Okay.
So every month I plan my own kind of event. So, and it all goes back to helping a nonprofit, which is really great. I never thought about working for nonprofit and didn't really know like the ins and outs of nonprofit work, but it's rewarding to know that everything that we're doing is going back into education and science and nature. And so my events are called Bad Nights, Bishop After Dark.
Oh.
So come have a good time having a bad night, is what we always say. It's in the new year, it's going to be the third Thursday of every month. So we do
In
everything-
2023.
2023. So right now we have a murder mystery is happening tomorrow, 80s theme. Just throwing that out there. It's all
Well, when they listen to this, they're not going to know that.
Oh yeah,
They're-
true.
it's gonna be past.
Over. But it's all good. Just know. So basically, all my events are either the science, history, or chemistry of. So we're doing history of jazz, and the chemistry of a cocktail, and the science of beer, and the science of gaming, and all the things in the new year. And so that's really what I do, is I get to plan all the events and all the themes and feelings that I've always wanted to plan, but you can't really have that at a wedding.
Okay. Well, you can.
To an extent. You have to have the right client that wants to have those kind of out of the box thinking. So I'm able to, curate those, and we do yoga and all kinds of things, holiday events.
Yeah, and you guys y'all still do weddings
Yes.
at the Bishop.
Yes. So the biggest portion of what I manage, I have a business development coordinator, Adam, who helps me. And so we manage our event spaces, and we have about 7 spaces that you can use throughout the museum, which people are like, are you serious? Yes. I can have 2 to 3 events happening at the same time, and I have. So we have our Spanish courtyard, where we have the manatee habitat, so you can see the manatees.
That's where most of
the weddings happen there. That's like
It's
prime
a really cool little
real
spot.
estate spot. Everybody loves it.
'Cause it's
You've
like-
got the cafe lights.
Yeah, it's because it's like outdoor, but it's covered.
Yes, and you still have that rain plan
Mhm.
of being up on the corridor. So we have that. We have our Riverside Plaza out on the riverside by the Manatee River. And then we have the whole first floor museum. So we have indoor options as well. So holiday parties, all that stuff usually happens indoors. But they love the outdoor feature. We have a West Garden, which is like a big grassy area for a cocktail hour. So a lot of ways to kind of piece your different spots together. And that's really kind of what I thrive in now, is the logistics of helping other people figure out how their day should flow to make the best sense.
So do you still work with couples for weddings?
I do. I just don't help them plan anything.
You don't plan.
I give advice.
Okay.
Lots of advice.
Got it.
I point them in the right direction of best DJs ever.
Duh.
I do refer them to other planners that I've worked with that
Okay.
I know do great work. So I'm helping guide them into the world of, here's who you should work with or consider, because they just kind of don't know. Like, they're engaged, like, I got my venue, and now what? And they're
Right.
kind of left without any answers. So I offer a lot of advice, which I love doing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Right. And that's so the Bishop Museum is in Bradenton.
Yes.
Downtown Bradenton.
Yes.
It's a really cool little spot there. Like I don't make it up to Bradenton enough. Just because I'm in my own little bubble in
Sarasota
Sarasota.
bubble.
I just love downtown.
I do love downtown Sarasota. I do.
But so the Bishop Museum, formerly known as
The South Florida Museum.
So those of you local here, the South Florida Museum, now known as the Bishop Museum. I guess they did the name change, 2 years ago now?
2019.
Yes.
When I got married there, it was the South Florida Museum.
Yep.
So I started my position 13 years and 1 day after I got married there.
Mm.
Go
How about
figure,
that?
right?
Just look at
Gotta
that. And so
circle
what
back.
do and like what do they have like what's a typical budget just to like rent the
yeah.
bishop
Yeah.
for a wedding?
So we are one of the more economical venues currently. And we're at $2,000 for the courtyard.
That's just to rent the courtyard for the day.
For like 3 p.m. to midnight. We have 11 o'clock noise ordinance.
Yeah.
We have an officer that also watches over the event. So there's that minor cost there. And then we just charge for tables and chairs, like whatever you need. Or you're free to bring everything in.
You can do rentals.
Yep. We allow all that. We don't allow any balloons or fire because we are a museum of nature and science. So a lot of people are like, why?
Fire.
Millions of dollars of collections. We have over 100,000 collection items.
I mean, cold sparks, is that considered?
Cold sparks are fine.
Cold sparks. All right. So
yes,
there's.
You can bring your cold sparks, Tim.
Well, no, I'm just curious because cold spark effects.
The right kind of cold sparks.
Yeah. Approved. Yeah. There's a whole thing.
There's a danger level to that. So
there is.
We do ask that people really check and ask those questions of their DJ. Like, are they certified? Like, is there, like, have they used them before? Ask another client, how were their code sparks before?
Yeah.
Because, it really is a thing that could be dangerous. And so we don't allow drones. That's the only other thing we don't allow.
Really? Okay. So for
in
video.
The city limits.
Mm-hmm. And I know, you have to have, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
All
Because
right.
we're across the street from the police department as well. So very safe location.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we love everyone and everything. So bring us all your things, all your events, all your ideas.
And you can party with the manatees.
Yes. And that's what I love too, is that it's also educational. So your guests are getting to see something that they can't see anywhere else. There's no other venue that has that opportunity to see manatees who are rehabilitating to be released back out into the wild. So currently we have 3 ladies in our habitat, Iceland, Janice, and Aria, 2 of which will probably be released in the new year. And then we'll bring in some more either guys or dolls to rehabilitate because that's what we do.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
And it's educational. They're really cute.
I mean,
really cute.
Have a party and be educated.
Yeah. And it's zen too. Like you just go and sit and stare and they come up to the glass and it's like you just have moments.
Yeah, true. I mean, I remember partying for your big birthday party, your 90s themed.
About that.
How do you forget about your
I actually just had that pop up the other day. I was like,
a year ago.
Oh my gosh, it's been a year. Like November 9th was the party. My birthday's on the 12th, but I just look back and I'm like, wow, I did a lot for my party.
It's crazy.
And I appreciate you and Joey being there and
DJ Joey.
Yes. And just making it, I mean, people still talk about my party today. People may still be hungover from my party today. It was good.
I mean, the decor though was just, you had trust, like, who was,
Weber Scenic.
Weber Scenic. That's right.
What was that? I think it was a 3-foot crystal or disco ball hanging from the middle of the
3 foot. No, bigger.
3 foot round.
Oh, like 3 foot. Yeah, gotcha.
It was like, but then it was like on these big metal trusses. That were like 8, 10 feet
it was insane.
tall and
the decor was awesome. I thoroughly loved it. They also he built and he like the cool thing with Weber Scenic.
Yes.
They're a decor company, but he works with that whole team works with a lot of like the theater companies around town, like the Players Theater, I believe the Oslo Theater here in town. But like he builds everything from scratch. So if you want something, you just tell him like, hey, I have this idea, and he'll roll with it. It's insane the stuff that he comes up with.
I mean, we had that big Rubik's Cube was a 4 foot by 4 foot square Rubik's Cube that actually worked and moved and rotates. And then he built the whole facade of the DJ
cassette or the boombox,
in front of your DJ set.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Amazing.
And he also, he does a great job with drapery and lighting.
Champagne walls.
Well, it's
all the things.
Man.
He's getting ready to do our big bash.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
awesome.
doing
Weber. Shout out to Weber Scenic.
Right,
Jeffrey
and Christy.
Woo, you guys
killing it.
love them. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna talk about me.
Yes. Let's talk about you.
I'm gonna talk about me for a second.
Let me ask the questions.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah.
Let's hear this.
So, Tim,
Hey.
Where are you from?
Uh-oh.
How did you get here?
Get here to Sarasota?
Yeah, here to Florida. How did you, because you're not from here.
No, I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
He's very proud.
Very proud. And and then my parents moved. Didn't even ask me.
How old were you?
I was 3.
You don't get a say.
I was 3.
You don't even know what's happening at
No,
3.
had no idea. But was born in Philly. But I'm a Florida boy. I love it here.
Yeah.
I grew up here in Sarasota. Thank you to my mom and my dad. But yeah, we moved down here when I was 3, 1990. Well, I guess maybe I was 4, 89. I don't know.
A lot younger. Well,
yeah,
than I
it was
am.
a while ago. Yeah, so grew up. I mean, I went to school here.
Oh, where'd you go to high school?
Well, let's go back.
Yeah.
Wilkinson Elementary School.
Where's that? See, this is how much I know
It's
about
on-
Sarasota.
It's in Beeridge.
Still open?
in
Like
Wilkinson.
it's still a
Yeah.
school?
So I
Okay.
started at Ashton Elementary,
I've heard of that one.
Ashton, and then I went to Wilkinson, and then from there I went to Sarasota Middle School.
Okay.
Okay, and then from there, I went to Booker High School,
I knew that.
Booker Tornadoes.
Yes.
And I was actually in their visual performing arts program. I played the trumpet.
Do you still play today?
Yeah,
Really?
I just busted out. I thought it was,
What?
actually, you know what? I thought it'd be really cool because Timmy Trumpet. I don't know if you guys know the artist Timmy Trumpet.
Yes.
And for all my baseball fans out there, I don't know if it's trending. Well, it's a pretty
You can set
it's
the
a
bar.
bop.
Make it trend.
Narco is the name of the song. Look it up.
Yeah.
Narco, Timmy Trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about maybe bringing out my trumpet to some of my weddings or
Why
events. And whenever these songs come on with the trumpet, just blast it with
Right.
it. Like, how cool would that be?
Exactly.
But I do have to brush. I mean, I've actually tried it and I've played it. It's really cool. I can still read music. I can still play.
How long did you play?
I mean, all through high school. So
Yeah,
I
played
mean,
the
well,
flute
middle
since I was
school.
12, so I should probably see if I can pick that up.
Yeah.
And be Lizzo
Well-
killing it with the flute.
Sarasota Middle, I started playing the trumpet. That's what introduced me, and then I auditioned to be in the visual performing arts program for music at Booker, and I got in. So I studied music
Oh yeah.
while playing baseball and everything. But I was in the marching band. I was in the jazz band, jazz.
Same.
Yeah.
This is why we get along so
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
It's like we really are brothers.
I was the
and
lead
sister.
trumpet, low key flex, lead
Mhm.
trumpet. But
Were you your square or your squadron leader when you marched football games? You know, have the squadron leader.
yeah, I mean, we had a small band. We were small but mighty, so there was like 50 of us total.
I think we maybe had 80.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I take that back. We had like 30 or 40 total, 50 including
The girls,
color guard.
the color guard,
Color
and
guard, yeah.
And we had truckerettes.
Truckerette, okay.
They were the ladies.
Oh, that's right, because you guys were the trucks.
Truckers.
We were the tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
We're a little bit more intimidating, but yeah. So Loki didn't know that I have a huge music background, and I was actually planning on studying music in college.
Okay.
So I was the idea was to go to Florida State, go Noles, and and study music, play music there. But the universe had different ideas for me, and
Plans for
yeah, different
Timothy.
plans. And I mean, I was also playing baseball in high school, and was lucky enough to get the opportunity to play and get scouted and played at Temple University in Philly. So I went back home. I don't really know if it's home, but
That's an awesome accomplishment.
yeah.
That's
So
great.
I was recruited and played at Temple University, but I was only there for a year and a half. Coach retired. I ended up leaving, and then went to I feel like Booker High School, then going to Temple, was all getting me ready for my ultimate destination,
Yeah.
which was Florida A&M University in Tallahassee. FAMU.
Yeah.
Go Rattlers. For those of you who don't know about
We do
FAMU,
not connect on any of our schools.
for those of you who don't know much about FAMU is an HBCU, a historical black
Yes.
college university. So 99.9%.
Tim was that .01.
I was that 0.1% of
But man, they really do their thing when it comes to music and the arts and the band.
Their
and,
band
like,
is insane.
oh
Like
my
their
word.
band was they were they went to the Super Bowl. They played with Prince.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys remember that Super Bowl. Gosh, was it, what, 2014, 2015?
Has it been that short of a time?
Yeah, because I was at a was I don't remember if I was there or not. I don't know. It was like between 2010 and 2020.
Yeah. Y'all look it up. Google it.
When did Prince pass away?
I don't know.
All right. Well,
We should know this.
we don't have that information, but when Prince was at the Super Bowl, FAMU's
was a
Marching
great
100 was there and
halftime.
pay It was awesome. It was raining in Miami.
That's amazing.
But so I ended up at FAMU and played baseball there. I was on scholarship, played baseball there. Got my undergrad in business marketing, and was always like during this time was always like trying to, because we didn't FAMU, like their baseball program at that time was, I mean, high school fields and stadiums were better than ours for a Division I school. I had to change, like, go from our practice uniform into like our actual uniforms. We had to change out in the field, like out on the, like in our dugout.
Wow.
We didn't have any locker rooms.
Was it because sports wasn't?
Well, no, just baseball.
Just
like
baseball
it's just
in
not
general.
money generating. There's just no revenue in it.
True.
Unlike the school right across the street, Florida State. They have.
Or the U, which is even
That's in
closer.
Miami. We're not talking about them. Florida State's literally right next door to FAMU. But like I remember when so after FAMU, I played a couple years of minor league ball, but I would train over at FSU, and I was so bitter going over there. Oh my God!
You're like, this is what
This
I'm
like
looking at.
yeah, I'm over here training at a like a middle
Little
school
league,
field,
Little league.
little league, and then you've got like
Faces
this.
are all super close together.
Yeah, I mean, and then I go over and no wonder these guys are just killing everybody at that
They
time.
probably had like video of like their mechanics.
It was
and
insane,
all
but
the things.
it was really cool
But
to
you still succeeded.
yeah, it was still
Yeah,
cool to
you did
train.
great.
But all the while, and then while out of season, I was actually the graduate assistant coach at FAMU. So I'd go back and I got my graduate degree. But during that time, I always noticed like I was wanting to. We never had any walk-up songs when I was playing,
Oh,
and I was like, we need to get music out
you
here.
need some hype.
So I was able to somehow get some speakers out to the field, get it plugged into the system, and just like from my computer, my own laptop,
Hit play.
like yeah, just hit play. And this is before like Apple Music was a thing. Like I just had to download from like Napster or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it was
You
that.
shouldn't tell everybody.
Yeah, but I was just
Whatever
playing.
illegal way.
Yeah,
to
I
get
was
it,
just
yeah.
playing music and didn't realize like, oh, this is gonna be my destiny
This
years
is
down
my
the road.
future.
But I was so, like I just wanted to be able to play music for people.
Yeah.
And
Because it unifies people. It like changes the whole atmosphere. Even probably when you were training, probably from when you were a young age, you probably had music playing
Oh,
to
yeah.
get you ready, and you just correlate music with.
well, as an athlete,
getting
yeah, I mean,
hyped
it just gets you
and when you're
hyped,
training and
working out.
it truly changes the whole trajectory of probably what you're doing.
Yeah, so that was definitely foreshadowing to what I'm doing today. But what really got me into the wedding industry is after college, after I graduated, I started a position here at the TV station, ABC Channel 7, the local news station. That's actually where we are podcasting from, in the ABC 7 studios, podcast studios. But this place called the White Buffalo Saloon had opened, and I was for some reason I got really
How
big
did
into
you end up there?
at White Buffalo. Well, I started line dancing in college, like towards the end of my college career. You meet a girl, and
You want to dance with her?
well, I mean, she's like, "Hey,
Keep
we're going line dancing," and I had taken a trip to Gainesville. That's where she was, and she's like, "Hey, we're going to go to a country bar. We're going to go line dancing." I'm like, "Okay."
So would you count yourself as having rhythm then?
Well, and I feel like with line dancing, what really helped me was the fact that I was in marching band.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like choreographed walking.
I should really be better
You
at
should.
line dancing.
You really should.
I really should. He's seen me. It's
Yep.
not pretty.
No bueno. But So yeah, I really just like loved line dancing in college, or towards the end of college. And when I came down here, they had Joyland up in Bradenton.
Where he doesn't go.
Well, no, it's not there anymore. It's
Well,
in a
I
new
mean,
location.
when it was.
I would go there. I would go there all the
Did?
time.
You
Yeah.
ventured to Bradenton?
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved Joyland was my spot. I loved it.
He's like, they know me
And
by
then
name.
and then White Buffalo. I heard White Buffalo was opening. So they had like this huge cattle call for people, no, just for like a huge cattle call for like
It's just
funny,
servers. White Buffalo cattle call. It
yeah.
was a whole correlation.
Yeah. So they started, they were like, hey, we're hiring servers, barbacks, bartenders, cooks, everything, like security. And so I showed up and there was like this huge line out the door, and the venue wasn't even finished yet. Like they were still in construction, but they were just trying to get staff.
Yeah.
So I walk up and they're like, all right, what position are you going for? I'm like, line dancing, line dance instructor. I heard that you guys are looking for an instructor. And so they're like, you're going to have to come back this like later this afternoon, because that's like, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So I literally, so I talked to the GM at that time. He's like, yeah, come back this afternoon. So I did. And he literally kind of like shows me around. And again, it's still under construction, but kind of like shows me where everything's going to be, the stage. And literally just out of nowhere, he's like, so how would you run a class? I'm
Show
like,
me.
I have no idea. No idea. Like I've never taught before. I've line danced.
Just do it.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go through the steps. And he's like, okay, show me. Like, how would you teach a class? And so I literally just went
in the middle of the construction.
In the middle of the construction, it was just the three of us. It was me, the GM, and I forget who else was there. And I just like did like a basic, well, you would take your right foot and step forward and do this, that, and the other. He's like, all right, we'll give you a shot. He was like, well,
you said all the right, left, right.
Yeah.
things.
Well, yeah. It was interesting.
Shocked?
Was that?
Were you like shocked? Like, what was the?
I was nervous. Like I was like, all right, this is cool. I mean, I loved line dancing at that point. And so, weeks go by, and he's like, all right, we're about to open up. Are you ready? I'm like, sure. So I had like 4 dances. Didn't know any of the lingo, like the line, like I didn't know any of.
So were these 4 dances that you already knew how to do? Or
from Tallahassee?
Okay.
When
I went to
the
Tally down.
The Moon in Tallahassee. That was the venue called. That was at Friday nights was their country night. The Moon. The Moon. And so first class, I remember like I didn't know any of the terms. I didn't know any terminology for line dancing.
I mean, left, right?
Well, like a grapevine, for example. Grapevine right. A sailor step, those type of things. Had no idea what that was. And so
Is there like a dictionary on that?
I had to look it up. I did some research.
Makes sense.
But this was after the fact. So I did the first lesson, and I was so nervous. And luckily I did have another instructor with me, so we kind of like tag teamed it. She did 2 and I did 2.
Oh, that's good.
So like the stress wasn't as bad. But yeah, I did the first class, and that was over with. The GM came up to me. He's like, hey, so I asked some of the guests here, because a lot of the people like were avid line dancers. They're like, they liked your personality, your energy, but just brush up on the terminology. Like, just learn the terminology. I'm like, you know what?
Kill them with kindness and your personality.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? This is too stressful. I don't want to do this. I literally went to my mom and my sister, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
Really?
I've got enough going on at the TV station. Like I had just started work. I was probably like a year in at the TV station. And I was like, you know what? That's just too much. I don't want to do it. And so my sister and my mom said, just give it a shot. Do 2 or 3 more.
They're not going to let you not.
No, they said do 2 or 3 more lessons, and if you don't like it, then
decide.
Then you can part ways. But until then, just don't be one and done.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
That's
so
a total
I literally,
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how.
Don't
I
give
with my
up.
kids.
So
yeah.
literally, went back and did all my research. Like I went online, I Googled, what's line dance terminology, and man, did I learn a lot. And 8 years of line dancing later, like, I mean,
Did you ever design your own towards like?
Oh yeah,
as you
I
went further,
yep.
you kind of put your own things.
A few
together.
years in, I started like once I really understood the terminology and understood the lingo and really what I was doing. It just became second nature. So yeah, I choreographed some dances. I probably got like 10 or 15 of them. They're on the World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web.
Copper Knob is the website. It's a huge for my line dancers out there. Copper Knob is that's where all the step sheets are. Yeah, Copper Knob .UK, something like that. But so line dancing.
Is that where I need to go to learn?
No.
No.
That's if you want to teach. That's where the step sheets are.
Oh, I
Yeah.
want to know though. I want to learn the 1-2 shivers.
Oh, that's cool. It's trending on TikTok.
It is,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to learn it via TikTok. It's not working. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Teach me.
Well, I've retired from line dancing.
No. You can't. If I can't, you can't.
Well, anyway, so White Buffalo is
Yeah.
really I have to give a ton of credit to White Buffalo Saloon and Mike Evanoff. I mean, he like doesn't really think much of it. He's like, yeah, whatever, like you did everything. But if it wasn't for Mike Evanoff giving me the opportunity to teach line dance lessons at White Buffalo Saloon, TLS Entertainment and me DJing would have never happened. I would not be in the wedding industry. So this, it's not like I woke up and was like, you know what, I'm going to be a DJ
I
today.
think I'm just gonna migrate.
I'm just, career
You
change.
didn't do like I did. You just was like, I just literally was like, I think I'll plan some stuff.
Yeah, no,
See what happens.
I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be a DJ today. No, that was not the case. I literally, I mean, a lot of, people that came to lessons, they would form relationships, and a lot of people started dating during my lessons. Like it was like there were up to like
You're like a line dancing matchmaker.
yeah, there were like 200 people at one point that would be coming to my lessons on a weekly. Like it was, I would go downtown at one point, and I'd be like, "You're the line dance guy."
Yep.
I was
name
like,
is Tim.
yeah, I was like, "That's me."
Did they ever start dancing in the streets? Be like,
Sometimes, yeah, but it
Really?
was like
That's
it was like it was weird that like people recognized me from line dancing.
Mhm.
And that like, how could I be downtown Sarasota? I should be at the White Buffalo Saloon. But so yeah, so like there would be people like obviously like meeting at these lessons, and so a couple they started dating, then they got engaged, and then like, hey, since you like
You're the
we
reason.
met because of your lessons, and would you mind teaching at our wedding? I was like, of course, that would be great. I would love to teach at your wedding. And they're like, well, since you know, like the music that we like, would you mind DJing too? I was like, oh my God, I've never DJed in my life. I've never,
Back to Google.
right? I've never done anything wedding related. I've barely been to a wedding. I think I've been to maybe 1 or 2 weddings at that point. So I knew nothing. So I went to the resident DJ at White Buffalo at that point, Chuck Reedy, shout out. And I asked him, I was like, hey, do you have any like speakers or sound equipment that I can borrow? And he gave me like this stuff from like the 1980s. I actually have photos of the equipment. I mean, you got to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I grabbed this equipment, put it in the back of I had like a Nissan Altima at the time, and went to this wedding, didn't have any timelines. I didn't really know. I think I asked him, I was like, what do you guys want for your first dance?
What do you want me to say?
I asked them, what do you want me to say? They're like, I don't know, just make something up. Please welcome the new Mr. and Mrs. Walsh. Like,
there you go.
that's, yeah.
And music.
Yeah. But it actually, like, it was a beautiful, I actually felt really bad. It was a beautiful venue. It was out east somewhere. I've actually never been back there since. But it was beautifully put together. The decor was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I actually just found pictures from it. That was my very first wedding. But from that, from that particular wedding, I was like, you know what? How do I monetize being a line dance instructor? Like, how do I build this?
There's that business marketing.
There's the
degree.
business side of
Yeah,
my
the
mind
business-
just turning. And I was
Yeah.
like, I really need to figure this out. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll look into DJing, like kind of like becoming a DJing line dancer. And so I really focused on the country theme niche of things.
Yeah, I remember your first logo too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I really went hard into like the country theme. Like I even took quote unquote professional photos. I had my cowboy hat on, my boots.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, with Lexi, my Doberman.
I've never seen those photos.
Really?
Never.
Oh boy,
I've only seen your country logo.
Okay, well, yeah.
Oh.
I actually took like photos, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be super professional with this.
Oh yeah. Cowboy hat.
This was back what 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That was in 2014.
So we started working together just basically like a year after or so.
Well, what happened? So, I was doing a lot of like country themed events.
Yeah.
Like, and I was doing a lot of line dancing. That's how it all came up. Like, hey, do you need a DJ? Because I can play music. So I started learning like the DJ software. Virtual DJ is what I use. There's also Serato, but you know that's all just like DJ terminology.
Yeah.
Or DJ things. But I personally use virtual DJ. So I started like learning that a little bit. Didn't have a controller. Just literally doing everything off my laptop.
What's the controllers? Those the two circle things?
Yeah, it's the circle things. That's how we do all of our.
I've seen this stuff, but I don't know the name of the stuff.
It's called a controller. Yeah.
And I know you push these buttons.
We push buttons and we make things happen. That's right. We're just button pushers. That's all we do.
No. For anyone thinking, and I've actually had this conversation a lot. People are like, "Oh, can't we just do speakers and push a button?"
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you could.
Yep, you
Certainly could.
I don't suggest it.
I mean, again, if music is not, your thing and you don't really care, then by all means.
But there's a flow that you provide too. Like you provide like a parameter of
We provide a party that your wedding deserves.
Exactly. Like you make sure like, okay, we're on task for this, we're on task for that. And you make sure that all those things happen, like all the to-dos, so that we can hurry up and not really hurry up, but so that we can get to the more fun parts.
Yeah. Stay on track.
You're like the orchestra instructor, that guy.
Yeah. So like the wedding planner is like the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We're the ones that actually
make it all pretty.
Yeah, you guys make it pretty. You're behind the scenes, and then we're the ones that bring it to life.
Yep. I would absolutely agree that two things besides catering and drinks that you should definitely have in your budget and afford: DJ and planner. Even if it's just a day of coordinator. Yeah. You don't have to be there the whole year or whatever, how long you're planning.
Yeah. I would say, well, we'll get into those logistics later.
So then we started working. So you were about a year and a half before you ventured into.
Well, so then, what happened was I actually had I started getting a little bit more leads, like more inquiries for weddings. And I was like, okay, this is cool. But they started out as just like country theme, like the couples that love country music. It was more country, like barn style weddings. Yeah. And then I had a couple reach out to me. And the bride was like, based on my logo, she's like, do you only do country music? And I said, well, no. Like, I mean, I cater everything to what you guys want, but like my niche is country because that's what I know. And it was at that point that I was like, I need to rebrand my entire business.
So, growing up, were you more of a country music listener?
No, I mean,
listen to everything.
Well, yeah, everything. When I went in college, I started to listen to country, and that's when I really like got into it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it comes in like ebbs and flows now. Like, I mean, I'll be like hardcore listening to country, and then I'll get into like today's hits or like hip hop, and then I'll get like into EDM.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to country. It's just a whole thing. But yeah, but that bride is really, she asked me, she's like, do you only do country music or country themed type of events or weddings? And I was like, no, not at all. So at that point I was like, I need to rebrand. I needed to redo my logo, everything. Yeah. And at that point I was also looking at, like bringing on some additional items like a photo booth and lighting and so forth. Cause I was really just trying to figure out how to build this entertainment company.
An empire.
Well, yeah.
You did. And you do. You've done that very well.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But and then here we are. Then I think I did a wedding at Mixon's, and that's how we met, and we just started doing more and more. And
And I think for me, being on the side of talking with the client, for me, just like the GM at White Buffalo, it's a personality thing. And so I feel like the way that you present yourself and you bring the energy, it translates into your music. And so if you didn't have that personality and that outgoing extrovert part to you, I think it would probably be it would be a whole different thing. So I just want to thank the guy at White Buffalo too.
Yeah,
for,
well, he's
all the
actually
things.
well, he helped me and like built my like my confidence in emceeing before I mean, when I first started at White Buffalo, I just like talking in front of a big crowd was just terrifying.
Oh, I bet.
But that's why I always have my notes, and I always have. I mean, that's why I'm so well prepared for weddings
Yeah.
too, because I mean, heck, I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds of weddings at this point. But I still like, just like I get the game day jitters, you know, it's the this is Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl
Every
Saturday.
time.
Every time.
Every time.
It's this couple's Super Bowl.
Yes.
So like I get game day jitters, especially for introductions. Like I literally have to shake it out. I'm like, all right, we got this.
I know.
And once I get going, I'm
It's
fine.
awesome.
Yeah, it's like I literally just have to press play for the music,
Yeah.
and then I have to read the first thing, and then I'm good.
And then you're good.
And then I'm golden.
I feel like that happens when we are lining everybody up on the planner side. Like, okay, it's go time. Lining everybody up. And the second we fluff that dress and she starts walking, you're like, that's my favorite moment. That's my moment where I'm like over in the corner, like shedding tears. So I'm like, okay, it's happening. Like we're going. So I can relate to that. But yeah, I think that definitely some big kudos out to White Buffalo.
Yeah, thank you,
For sure.
White Buffalo Saloon, which is no longer there, by the way. It's gone. Yeah, so I was there literally I taught the very first lesson there.
And the very last,
and
right?
I like semi-retired, like right before it closed, and I brought on this other instructor who kind of like took my place, and he did a great job. And then I found out that they were closing, and so they brought me on for the last lesson, just to like say goodbye.
So bittersweet, yeah.
But yeah, that's how I got into the wedding industry, was solely from line dancing. And obviously like the teaching aspect really has helped with my MC skills and being like like my personality and just like working with couples. And I mean, again, I still get nervous, because it's so big. It's like, like you said, it's one and done.
Yeah. And I think also, and part of your story and your background is your drive to always educate and always learn. I feel like every time we did a wedding together, it was always, and even from like weekend to weekend, I was like, oh, what's this new song, or what's this new thing, or what's this new, like your lighting and how you're always elevating. I think there always has to be a hunger to learn. You're never a professional, like you're never too much to learn. And so I think that's, as a planner, when you're wanting to start out, find another planner find multiple planners and just say, hey, can I just watch?
Yeah.
I won't do anything. I won't say anything. I just want to watch, because everybody's going to do something a little differently.
Yep.
And you're going to take away what you like and what you don't like, and you're going to put your own spin on it, but school's never out.
Yeah, no, I agree.
sure.
I mean, I'm always trying to learn. I mean, if I have the opportunity to go to a wedding and I'm not DJing, of course, I'm going to judge the heck out of that DJ and look at his setup, see what he's using, see what his techniques are.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm judging hard, but I'm also like trying to learn.
Right? Like what's that?
Yeah, like what equipment is he using, and how does he have things set up? And as far as when he does his announcements, what is he saying? How's he getting the crowd and the guests like hyped up, or kind of his flow, or her flow, I should say too. But I'm always constantly learning, and even with my team. So I have a team of DJs now.
Yes, an empire.
I don't know about an empire, but we're working on it. But, I'm constantly trying to learn from them as well. As much as I'm trying to teach them everything that I've learned along the way. I mean, I'm better at certain things than they are, and they're better than I am at certain things. Like Joey, for example, he slid into my DMs, and he was wanting to work with me.
Slid right in.
He slid right in. He was my first DJ to work with me.
Yeah.
From Buffalo, New York. And like technically, he's so much better than I am. As far as like scratching and everything.
I love when he duels. I came up in my stories the other day that he did a DJ duel. There was a DJ there that was a guest, and they did like dueling DJs, and I was just there.
Yeah, we've actually done that. Yeah, he and I have done that.
Yeah.
We actually did it at your
you guys did it. Yeah,
at your birthday party.
You did it during COVID.
Oh yeah,
from your garage.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
All the old COVID days.
But yeah, I feel like you always need somebody that's also going to help elevate you. And so I would go amiss if I said that I did all 18 seasons of my planning solo. So after that first wedding by myself, I called my best friend and said, never again.
Yeah.
And so Jen, shout out to my bestie, Jen.
What's up, Jen?
Yeah. She's still at Mixon's. So book her. Even if you're not at Mixon, book her anywhere. She's amazing. She is like, we're yin and yang. She's very, like, she can look at a space and tell you what's going to fit in that space and how it's going to lay out aesthetically, where I'm like, no, we can fit all that in. She's like, no, that's not going to work. And I'm detail. I'm OCD. Like, all my seams on my linens have to go a certain way. Like, everything on the plate, and it just all has to face a certain way. And she is more a get it done, but it looks really good. And she has mad creative ideas that come in an instant. So if you've ever just handed her a box of decor or whatever, she's just like, I got this. And it turns into something you like, what was in that box? Because I don't recall that coming. How did that happen? And so she's always been my kind of counter. And so every wedding since then I've planned with Jen.
Nice.
So I've always had that extra. So yeah, so I feel like you always have to have that team to help elevate you, but always be learning too.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, we're always learning. We're learning new things that are, new trends that are coming. And actually, that's a good segue.
Yeah.
And we're gonna wrap this up here in just a minute. But so we're gonna talk about like trends or that we're seeing in the wedding industry, or even just that you are seeing at weddings coming to your venue.
Yes.
Yes. So
what's out and what's in?
I'll start first. So at a recent wedding, actually a couple weekends ago, I was at Lakewood Ranch Golf and Country Club. Love it there. One of my favorite
staircase.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Phenomenal.
But really cool, and I think this should be done more. But I'm seeing a lot of that couples are bringing light sticks for like the dancing part. And for one, I love it as a DJ because it's like, all right, these guys are ready to party. Like they want to get this going.
Absolutely.
But the bride had this really cool idea, and we had talked about it beforehand. She's like, I have a second dress that I'm going to come into. And she said, I want to re-enter into the reception and into this new dress, but I have these light sticks. What are some options that we can do? I'm like, oh my gosh, we could do like a tunnel.
Yeah.
And they had video and photo there. Great for this opportunity is great for video. So right before, like we did the cake cutting, we did all the formalities. So dinner was just about done, and we're getting ready to kind of like get the dance floor started. So I made the announcement like, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, we need you guys to grab these light sticks, turn them on, and then start lining up in front of this door, which was leading into basically the dance floor. I mean, it was like she was out in the hallway, so we just opened up the door, and so they created this like tunnel and had the light sticks going. I actually got some video. I'll have to post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
But turn those on. We turned the lights down. Obviously, we had my uplighting going, and then just did a whole like
reintroduction.
A new introduction just for her though.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
but what
her husband was her groom was with her.
With her.
But she came in a brand new, like in a different dress.
Because what happens is we've seen this before. We've seen brides change, and there's no like excitement.
No,
nothing.
they just come out.
They
and they're
come out like,
look at me.
And it's like, no, celebrate that because you took the extra time because you feel more confident. Like you feel more free usually in that second dress, and you've got like this party vibe now. Yeah, reintroduce yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it we got video, and I'm so excited to see how the videographer, because the videographer was in the tunnel with the light sticks. and I was playing Zombie Nation.
Yes.
Just like super hype, and it like it set the tone for the night.
Like, here we go.
And it was a party. It was awesome. And actually, so then the next night I was at Laurel Oak Country Club.
Okay.
A little bit smaller but they also had light sticks. I'm like, oh my God.
Let's do it again.
So I brought the idea to her, but there was a lot of like changes, and I was like, all right, so maybe not here. Maybe this is something that I should definitely talk to the couples ahead of time. But that's a like cool little new trend. It's not a trend. Maybe it is a trend. I don't know. This is the first time I've done it.
As a planner, can say I've never seen that happen. Like, we've never done a reintroduction of them if they've, like, he took off his jacket and he changed his tie or changed his shoes or she changed her dress. There's never really been a reintroduction like that. Sometimes it happens between ceremony and reception before they're introduced the one time, not a secondary introduction.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll change after cocktail hour, but I always like for them to be in like their wedding dress for their first dances. But I think that dress deserves its pedestal for sure. I like that.
Yeah, that was something really cool. Again, I don't know, what they're doing in other areas, or if they're even doing. I mean, if that's popular here. But I thought that was something that was really cool. I'm going to start bringing that idea up to couples.
Light stick tunnel.
Light stick tunnel. Maybe that's something that I'll start adding as an add-on.
Provide the light sticks or an add-on introduction.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, we've been to obviously hundreds of weddings. I feel that a lot of weddings are expected to run the same way every time. The expectation is you go in, you see a ceremony, you have cocktail, you go to dinner, and there's dancing. So any way that you can add some extra into there, it can be the simplest thing as light sticks. It doesn't have to
add
be,
your own personality to it.
Truly add your own personality in there.
There's nothing traditional about weddings anymore.
Different. Like, make it not the same standard. This is what we're doing in this. Surprise your guests and don't tell anybody. Like, really just like own it, keep it a secret, and really just change the trajectory of the whole entire night and just elevate it for sure.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be the trend. The trend needs to be unveiling weddings as we're doing here on the podcast, but doing them in a different way, completely different way.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to follow the same cookie cutter.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. Well, Brandy, it's been
Tim.
It's been fun.
It has.
First podcast.
Right?
Podcast number 1.
In the books.
Our first podcast, Unveiled.
Yes.
Kind of all over the place, but again, we wanted to introduce ourselves. Again, Tim Schalch, Brandy Harlan, the Scoop Weddings Unveiled. We're going to be bringing a lot more, again, topics and ideas. And then, people. Oh, yeah, we'll be bringing people too. Yeah.
We'll have guest speakers.
We'll have guest speakers to come on. But we will be having this on YouTube as well. We'll have some video. Right now, it'll be on TLS Entertainment YouTube channel. Look it up. It'll be fun. But until then, I think that's it. Are you good?
I'm good. I'm going to go, as my shirt says, I'm a chaos coordinator. So I'm going to organize some more chaos.
Sounds good.
Do the thing.
Well, do you have any weddings this weekend?
We do. I'm actually helping with a wedding this weekend.
Look at you. I told you you're not going to stay out of it very long.
They're friends of mine, so, it's their kids. And so
it's wedding season right now. We are in October.
We had like 5 last weekend in 4 days.
Oh my gosh.
We had 2 at the same time.
We had 6, we had 5 this past weekend, 7 the weekend prior. I'm not personally doing them. We also do like homecomings and everything. We just did Cardinal Mooney High School's homecoming. We just booked their prom. Super excited.
Yay!
I'm but it is wedding and event season right now.
It is. Our seasons are different. So if
very
you're
different.
not from Florida or in the South, you're probably like, what do you mean wedding season? So wedding seasons are different here. It's like September through May. Up north, it's like September through.
Wedding season is September through. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Like
September
May.
through like June It's getting longer.
Up north, June, July, August.
That's
when they party.
Yeah.
Up in the northern states.
Yep, they get 3 months.
Yeah, we party 9 months.
9 months.
Come join us.
And then when we get hurricanes, we party again.
Yes.
Ugh.
Just in a different way. Just in a different way.
All right. Brandy, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Until
Thanks.
next time, we'll see you later. Let's get this outro going. Again, The Scoop, Weddings Unveiled. We will see you later.